sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
No car accidents this morning?
No. I mean, why would I be in a car accident this morning?
Last Thursday.
I wasn't in a car accident last Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. Are we in the time continuum? Did I forget something?
That's where you said you were an offender bender last Thursday before you gave it.
No.
Maybe you need something about the scratch on your face.
Oh, yeah, that's not from a car accident, but it was an accident. But Sean, why did you bring that up? Because now my mom is going to talk about it again. Mom, I'm taking care of it. I'm trying to take the scar down. It's so hard. None of that stuff is working. I should have done the yogurt thing. Is it too late to do your yogurt thing?
You try, Judge.
Okay. All right, the court, we're going to go on the record. Court is calling night mag number 743637, State of Texas versus Joseph Smith. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason Garahan, Your Honor.
Defense?
Sherrick for the defendant.
And are you Mr. Smith?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. My understanding is you're in custody and state is aware that the court was informed, and I believe the state was informed that there was a finding of tampering with the strap, and that was found by the magistrate judge, and they ordered that you be remanded without bond. So we are now here to hear this. So have both parties received the update letter from pretrial services state?
No, I have not seen that. Was that the one that came Monday? Yeah, I've seen that one.
All right, so I'll let the state review it. And state, do you need a copy?
No, Judge, I just wanted to read it quickly. Sorry, I'm almost done.
Oh, no problem. Okay. All right. So both parties had a chance to review.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so according to the updated letter, the office made contact with the defendant. This is what's in the letter. And it states, the defendant who agreed to travel from his home in Eagle Pass to San Antonio for inspection. However, he did not arrive. The defendant stated he spoke with his attorney and would not be traveling to San Antonio for device inspection. This officer attempted to make contact with the alleged victim in the case, but was unsuccessful, and a welfare check was requested from SAPD. As of this writing, the defendant remains in non-compliance. And they said they received a strap tamper alert from Sentinel Monitoring Call Center on May 24th, 2024 at 4:13 p.m. And they said this indicates that the defendant may have attempted to cut, remove, or tamper with the strap attached to the device. All right, we're here, and the pretrial services officer is here.
Judge, it's our opinion that Ms. Valadez there is engaging in official oppression of my client. She has harassed him continuously.
All right, so here's the thing.
No.
No. Let me say this. I don't do with beliefs. If people have some facts they want to present, they can present some facts.
We can call
Because I can tell you that from what I'm reading in the GPS strap tamper, it says that they received a strap tamper alert from Sentinel Monitoring Call Center, which suggests to the court, pretrial services officer is not in charge of Sentinel Monitoring Call Center. That's a different area.
Okay.
If they receive from them a strap alert and somebody is on GPS, Sentinel Monitoring will tell them it could be this. Maybe they tried to remove it. Maybe they tried to tamper with it. So,
Okay. Judge, I'd like to see that alert. I would like to see the documentation that the pretrial received concerning this monitor.
all right. Officer Valadez, do you have an email from them or something with regards to that?
Yes, Judge, I can forward you the
Oh, I'm
alert
sorry,
that
you're muted.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Just 1 second. Let us check on our end.
Okay.
All right, could you try it again? Let me just text you real quick.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that, Judge. Yes, Judge, I can forward you the email I had received from the alert that I'd received.
I'm gonna send you my email address, and if you'll send it to me, I can print it out for the attorneys here.
Yes, Judge, will do.
Well, that's going on, Judge. I'd like to make.
Well, no, just 1 second. We're taking this one step at a time. You wanted to see the Central Monitoring Call Center alert, so we're gonna get that to you.
What? 3 times the Wednesday.
Okay, Judge, I just forwarded it to you right now.
All right, let me see if it's come through. My computer, I'm being told, is out of date, so hopefully, there it is. Do this. There should be 2 copies coming. And I'm assuming nobody's going to be objecting to hearsay with regards to the document that you
No,
received.
I'd like to see the document.
Okay, sure. All right, thank you.
I guess you have it up there.
Yes.
Apparently, Judge, looking at this, it shows that it was working completely, no problems with it.
No,
No
here's the
issue.
thing. It's not the issue of whether it's working.
Yeah.
What I'm reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm reading from it, and everybody said they had no objection to hearsay. It's saying event information, event XMTR tamper.
Oh, I see that, Judge.
Yes.
All right. You can look at the bracelet there on his leg. It has not been tampered with. It's not been changed. This is the 3rd time they've come in and said that he had a tampering on his device. It has been working fine. There's been no issues with it. At 4:45 on Friday of Memorial Day weekend, he is in Eagle Pass, 3.5 to 4 hours away. They want him to come into San Antonio. I guarantee when he shows into San Antonio, there's nobody open. I advised him that on Monday, I will approach the court and I will bring this issue up to the court, which I did.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm trying to take this step by step, and I want everybody to hear me. All right, so defense stated that he believes that the officer, Miss Valadez, is harassing, and what are the other words that you use?
Official oppression.
Official oppression. So the defense said, I want to see this tampering thing because according to what I'm reading, Officer Valadez is not the one who said he was tampering. The officer received a report from Central Monitoring Call Center that they received a strap tamper alert. All right. Defense said, well, I don't believe it. I want to see that she actually received it.
Okay.
So she emailed it to the court. Both the state and the defense had it. So here's my question from both parties who are reading the same document that I'm reading. Does it appear that Officer Valadez received a report from Central Monitoring Call Center saying there was a tamper alert?
Yeah, that's what this says.
All right, so she received that there was a tampering alert. Here's my question for both parties. You have someone who is on bond for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. They're on GPS. Whether he should be on it or not, that's not what we're here for. He's on GPS. Someone placed him on GPS. It wasn't this court. What did anybody expect her to do when she receives a tamper alert from somebody who is on bond for a alleged violent offense? What were we expecting her to do?
From the state's perspective, Your Honor, she did exactly what she's supposed to do. In fact, I like to have that in every case I have where it's a violent offense. So
Just a
I think
minute.
Ms. Valadez did her job exactly the way she's supposed to do it.
So what she did, what I'm reading in the report, and I'm just dealing in facts, Mr. Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'm reading in the report I have is she received a tamper alert. And then what she did, and if I'm wrong, correct me, she picks up the phone, she calls you and tells you, you need to come back to San Antonio because she has a tamper alert. And according to this, it says that you told her, your attorney told her, no, I'm not coming back.
May I speak, Your Honor?
Well, you can speak if you want to go under oath. I don't know if your attorney wants you to do that.
You want
I- I would
to tell what's happened with dealing with her?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right.
All right, you want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Joseph Jefferson Smith IV.
All right, anybody want to ask him questions?
Not at this point.
All right, defense?
Mr. Smith, you've had issues with Ms. Valadez, right?
I got this monitoring device put on me in January. I had Officer Hudson who was in charge of me at first. Never had an issue. Never. About 3 months into her being my case manager, she took another job in Colorado. This is the first time I didn't even know who this woman on the computer screen was. I've never been introduced to her. I've never spoken to her personally. All I know is a voice over her phone. This is the third time I've had to drive from Eagle Pass to here, have another one replaced because the Centennial Monitoring Company will call me every other day between midnight and 8 o'clock in the morning, 2, 3, 4 times a night, and ask me, where are you at? And sometimes I've been so aggravated, or I've told them, you're monitoring me, you see me on the computer, you tell me. I'm sitting in my home of residence, I'm asleep, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're waking me, my children, and my wife, she has to go to work. This is where I'm at. Every time I have a thunderstorm where I live, this thing starts going off like a rape whistle. I myself have called police in San Clemente or Orange County, California, trying to let them know because I was freaking out because it was going off. Then eventually I got a hold of like a duty officer that worked at the pretrial confinement place. He told me he would let one of them know what was going on, and if there was an issue, they'd call me back. Never been an issue before. The whole tampering with it, Your Honor, if you would like to, or have maybe one of the officers take a look at it, you can tell it's not been tampered with. There's no cuts.
I'm not an expert in tampering of devices.
I understand that. Actually, I have a huge sore on the side of my foot where it's rubbed me raw, and I have a infection coursing through my veins because it's the circulation in my feet. Beginning all the surgeries I've had, I can see how fat my hands are today. I swell up. I've had issues with them not charging properly, and I've had to come back and get a new one put on. Like I said, this is the third or fourth time this has happened. The issue, and I don't know why there is an issue or why there's so much friction with me and Mrs. Valadez, other than the fact that she tends to speak to me in a demeaning manner, like, and I know she has a job of authority, and I understand that. But also, I deserve respect. And to be told, I'm done talking to you, give the phone back to your wife, is nonsense. It's got nothing to do with my wife. Now, secondly, where I live, I don't get a very good cell service. I live right on the river, where the big Accuses is happening. So my wife is secondary number. When I can't get service, then they can't get through to me, they call her, and I'm right there. You know, I'm never more than 2 seconds, a minute away. And she brings the phone right to me, whether I'm in the shower or I'm working on my vehicle in my driveway, right there. When I leave here, it's like I'm punching a time clock. They watch me go home all the way to Eagle Pass.
I mean, that's what GPS is.
I understand. Last week I asked when I left, and I came to see if I could get it taken off.
Mhm.
I actually asked her, look, she called when I left the court, and I asked her, ma'am, may I please stop and buy a book, something to read to keep my mind, you know, I'm going crazy at home, plus I'm hungry. She told me, absolutely not, you can't get out of your vehicle. As a matter of fact, if you stop at something, I need you to fax me a copy of the receipt.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way GPS works.
I understand that, ma'am, but it's in the manner of which it is done. There's ways things can be done, and there's ways you talk to somebody that you think that, you know, you're a very respectful woman, and I know a lot of judges who aren't, and I believe that helps you out in your career. She would get a lot more from me, a lot better conversation out of me, if she would just learn better people's skills.
All right, so
I'll just leave it at that.
let me tell you something. Sometimes people don't have what they call good bedside manners, right? And some people, for example, I have a friend, he's an attorney. And he would always, and he still to this day does it, he'll tell his client every possible worst thing that could happen, things that are out of the realm of possibility that would never happen. And then that person will say like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. But here's the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing. When people talk to people, yeah, I'm like, let's not be mean to each other. But some people are 100% business and they're not doing it in a nice way. Some people are, look, you're stopping. You're not allowed to stop. If you're going to stop, I need a receipt from the restaurant you stopped at.
No,
That's the way it is. But we were just here.
yes,
And correct me if I'm
I
wrong.
remember you telling me, look, you know.
No, stop. Correct me if I'm wrong. When we were here last time, I said that you're allowed for medical appointments. Did I say for anything else? Work in medical appointments. That's all I said. Did I say for anything else?
No, I mean, I've been here since 9 o'clock. I was driving 3.5
No.
hours back home.
Here's the
I
thing.
had to get gas.
When you're on GPS, you're on GPS. And if you're on full GPS, you know what that means? That means sometimes that if somebody's having a cookout at your house, you can't even step out to go in the backyard to watch the grill. All right. No. Listen to me. That's what full GPS is. When you're on partial GPS and it says you're allowed to go to work, that's all you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to make other stops. Now, what I will tell you, there are some pretrial officers who will say, you know, the Burger King is on his way to his house. That's fine for them to stop there. And guess what? That officer is not allowed to, is not supposed to allow you to do that. But there are some officers who do. But then you have some officers who go strictly by the letter of what's in the motion. And if the motion says you're only allowed to go to work, guess what? They're not going to let you stop at Burger King on the way. They're not going to let you stop at HEB on the way. If there's an emergency where, hey, my tank is on empty, I'm not going to be able to make it, usually they'll let you do that. But this other stuff, stopping at restaurants or let me pick up groceries or let me pick up some eye drops, some officers will say no. And you know what? They're not wrong for saying that. I will tell you, the officer who tells you when you're on partial GPS and you're only supposed to be going to work, that officer who gives you a pass and lets you stop at Burger King and Whataburger, they're actually in the wrong because they're not supposed to allow that to happen. It's because if that officer were to allow that and something were to happen at the Whataburger or Burger King involving that person, guess what? It's going to be the officer's fault. And that officer is probably going to get fired and everybody's going to rain thunder on that officer because this person is only supposed to be going to work And this person is only supposed to be going for medical appointments, period.
That's totally understood, Your Honor. And
Well-
I've had her
Judge,
call.
Well, no, he's testified.
I've
Let
had
him
her
finish.
call and be like, on the phone with my wife. My wife is here if you correlate to her. Where's your husband at now? And why is he driving 53 miles an hour down the road? I'm like, sitting right next to my wife. In my home. And my wife will hand me the phone, here. They say that you're driving 53 miles an hour down some highway right now.
Judge, I'll give you an example.
No. Do you have questions for him? He's still on the witness stand.
And with the whole, me ask, I remember, you told me, you need to go somewhere, ask. I asked her, she shot it.
She said no.
She shot it down. In the story, all I told her was, hey, I was hungry, but I gotta stop and get gas anyways, so I'm driving 3 miles, I get something at the truck stop. She was done speaking with me evidently, because she just said, give your wife back the phone. She doesn't have anything to say to my wife. It should be with me.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
when you were in court last Thursday, did you receive a call from Ms. Valadez?
Multiple times.
And what was her statements?
Why are you still there? I told you you're only allowed there until 1 o'clock. Why have you not called me every hour on the hour? And, my wife stepped out and let her know, hey, the court is really busy today. If you remember, I was the last one that day. It was Thursday. We leave for like 5 o'clock.
She knew he was in court. The GPS would show him at 300, yet she continued to harass him that
All right,
day.
the court was busy. However, we take cases as they're placed up for me to take. So it wasn't my fault that you
No,
were here till.
No, we're not
late.
saying that,
Okay.
Judge.
But yeah, no, I was the last one that day.
Okay. Any other questions, defense?
Judge, did you tamper with your GPS?
I've already sworn on it. There's no way in hell. I mean, if I was to cut it with a razor or a knife or a pair of scissors, it would definitely leave a mark. I can't slip it because my feet look like Mickey Mouse's feet. I have sores on my ankles, like I said, and I'm starting to get what's called cellulitis, blood infection, because can't keep it wrapped up. It gets wet and dry from the sweat underneath the band.
All right, so his question was whether or not you tampered with it.
Oh man, the only thing I've done is plugged in and unplugged it.
I would offer the GPS as an exhibit that has not been tampered with. There's no marks on it. There's nothing. Exhibit. That's
Take my leg.
Judge, just to talk to the defense counsel, I have looked at it. I don't see any visible marks on it. I do notice that there is 2 sores and scabs below it. I don't know if that would be an issue. I just want to let the court be aware that I do see visible injuries below the device.
That's
It's
from a rubber to my ankle.
Okay. Any other questions, defense?
nothing further, Judge, except the fact.
Well, no.
Okay,
State, any questions?
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions, further questions.
All right. So, Mr. Smith,
Smell.
it's my understanding with regards to your communication with Officer Valadez was you wanted to stop for food and she told you no?
That was when I left her last Thursday.
Okay, so last Thursday. So with regards to this,
I didn't, I went straight back to Eagle Pass.
all right, so with regards to May 24, 2024
That was,
at 4:13 PM, where they received the strap tamper alert from Sentinel Monitoring Call Center. Did Ms. Valadez ask you to come in?
I got called at.
Now, my question is, I want you to listen to my questions. Did Officer Valadez ask you to come in?
She told me.
All right, so did she tell you to come into the office? Did she inform you that she received a strap tamper alert from Sentinel Monitoring Call Center?
There's extenuating circumstances.
No, my question is.
Yes, she did.
All right, so Officer Valadez told you that there was a strap tamper alert from the call center, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
And she asked you to come in to San Antonio, yes or no?
Yes.
All right, what time was that when she asked you to come
That was
in?
at 16:45 on Friday.
Six,
Quarter to 5, quarter to 4,
that's PM?
yes, ma'am.
So she asked you to come to San Antonio?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and what was your response to her?
First of all, I have no one to watch my son. You know, I have 2 service dogs that are there. Secondly, by the time I get there, you know, it's the start of Memorial Day weekend. She told me I had 2 hours to get to San Antonio, which, you know, if you're Mario and Jetty, maybe. By the time I got there, there's gonna be nobody there. And
Well, no. You never arrived, so don't even give me this. By the time I got there, nobody would be there.
No,
My question to you, listen to me carefully. My question to you is, when she told you to come to San Antonio because she had received a strap tamper alert from the calling center, what was your response to her?
that happens every time it thunderstorms. And that I was going to speak to my lawyer before I left and let him know what was going on. Because, you know, I was being set up for failure. There was no way I was gonna make it anywhere on time for this. And I didn't feel that it was,
All right, so here's the thing. I appreciate that you want to tell your story the way you want to tell it, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of things, so I just need you to answer my question. Officer Valadez called you and said that she received a strap tamper alert from the calling center, yes or no?
yes,
And then she told you that you needed to come to San Antonio to address that, yes or no?
yes.
Then what did you do next?
I tried calling here, first of all, to let you know what was going on. I had talked to one of your clerks. They told me you were gone for the day. Contacted the Centennial place myself and let them know what was going on.
What did you say to did you call Officer Valadez?
I tried speaking with her over the phone, and she had the entire conversation was with my wife. She would not talk to me.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm asking you these questions
No, I
and listen to me. In the report that I received, it says the defendant stated he spoke with his attorney and would not be traveling to San Antonio for device inspection. Did you say that?
she was never told that. No, ma'am. I spoke with my lawyer. I let him know what was going on. He advised me.
No, so how would she get this information? You're telling me that you spoke to your attorney. Your attorney has already stated that he told you not to come.
And-
So you're telling me that Officer Valadez just has a crystal ball? Why is this in this report that the defendant stated he spoke with his attorney and would not be traveling to San Antonio for device inspection?
She's had multiple conversations with my attorney, ma'am, and she refuses to speak to me anymore, but she wasn't allowed now.
No, my question is,
Did your wife talk to her about this thing?
Possibly. I know it wasn't me. I didn't tell her, you know,
so
Okay.
you didn't speak to her at all?
I didn't have a conversation with her that day. You know, I had a conversation with one of your clerks.
No,
with my
stop. You're telling me now that you didn't speak to Officer Valadez at all?
lawyer. On Friday?
Yeah, when the strap tampering came in.
No, well,
All right, you're saying, you just told me that she called you to say that there's been a strap tampering alert from the calling center.
phone number, and she spoke to,
His wife is here. If you want to hear
and
the
I was
testimony.
sitting right next to her.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Judge. May I say something?
Oh, just 1 second. You're going to get called as a witness.
Okay.
So just give us a second. Am I wrong? Did he just say he had spoken to Officer Valadez? All right. Any more questions for him? All right. Any more witnesses, defense?
I have his wife.
All right. Let's call the wife.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Say your name.
What's your name, please?
Evelyn Smith?
All right. Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. You can lower your hand and just state your name again for the record.
Evelyn Smith?
All right. Defense?
Ms. Smith, on or about the 24th of May, did you have a conversation with Ms. Valadez?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did she call you directly that day?
Yesterday.
Did she call your husband that day?
No, she didn't.
All right, did your husband talk to her that day?
We were on speaker.
So he was on speakerphone, but the conversation was with you?
Yes.
Okay. What was the nature of the conversation?
She basically said, that it was tampered with. She said, I answered and she said that he had removed it. I was looking at him to where I said, I'm here. He's right, he's right outside. I can see him. It hasn't been tampered with. What is it that you want us to do? She said, well, maybe he moved it, tapped on it or something. I said, let me check. We're here. It hadn't been moved. I put him on speaker. He's like, nothing's wrong with it. I haven't done anything to it. I asked her if she wanted to call me from her cell phone so she could FaceTime so we could see the monitor. She said she would call me back, which she did call me back 10 minutes later or so. And she said, you're gonna have to come to San Antonio. I said, is there any way you can give me about an hour or so because we need to get things together, take the dogs to their place to stay for the night or somebody to take care of it and to take care of things here. She said, no, she said it has to be done right now. I said, is there any way? I mean, you can give me some time. I really need to get things taken care of. I haven't even clocked out of work. I work from home. I need to clock out of work. I need to do things. And she said, no, that somebody was going to be waiting at the jail for him. And I said, look, I honestly, we were just in San Antonio yesterday. We're going through a financial situation. It's really hard for us to get things done and get everything going right now. I said, if you can give me some time, let me figure things out. She's like, I don't have time. I said, can I call you back in 5 minutes? She's like, I don't have 5 minutes. He needs to be here. I said, she recalls I started hyperventilating. It was just too much to where I couldn't talk to her. And she was just like, okay, he needs to be here. I'm sorry. And if he's not here, we're going to set out a warrant for his arrest. But he needs to be here. Somebody's going to be waiting for him at the jail. He has until 8 o'clock. And I tried to figure things out as soon as I hung up with her. And we called the attorney. And that's what led to us believing that it would be okay if he didn't go. We were not going to make it. We were not financially stable at the moment. It's really hard for us to travel. It's really hard for him to travel with his condition. And I try my best. I'm his caregiver as well. So I try my best to talk to her all the time. I communicate with her. I email her. When we were here in court last Thursday, she was emailed, explaining to her she could extend until 4 or 5 o'clock. She agreed. She emailed me back right away. Our communication is a little bit better because I'm more understanding and I try to de-escalate situations. But that was a situation on Friday. We couldn't just pick up and leave and drive 3 hours to San Antonio. I also take care of my father who was sick. And it was a matter of having to get my sister to go, having somebody stay there with him, having my 16-year-old son be okay at the house by himself, somebody to take care of her dogs. It was a lot at once. And I just couldn't stop.
You offered to show her, Ms. Valadez, the ankle monitor on FaceTime
Yes,
that
I
she
did.
could see it,
I did.
and she declined.
Yes, she said, I'll call you back. That's what she told me that I had to come. I did take video and pictures that are timestamped on my phone, showing the device all around because I knew that it might be a problem if we didn't make it. So everything is timestamped on that. We tried calling the company itself as well.
All right. State, any questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge. You said your husband has a condition that it's difficult for him to travel. What is that condition?
He has GI problems to where he's unable to move his legs sometimes. So it's hard for me to get him in a car, or sometimes if he gets so swollen in his legs and his hands in the road that we have to stop several times because he gets a pain. He had a fistula removed, so he gets a pain on his left side. So we stop frequently in our drives because he needs to stand up, walk around for about 10 minutes, get back in the car. It's a whole process when we have to travel like this.
Ma'am, have you, all these medical conditions, have you given those paperwork and all that information to your attorney?
No, we've never been asked. to do that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And these are all, service-related injuries?
Yes, the GI.
All right, so you're saying that you were informed by the officer for him to report at the jail?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I'm assuming the jail is open 24/7. All right, and then you're saying that you were given until 8 o'clock?
She said there was a tech that would be waiting for him until 8 o'clock only. She did say something about maybe a 30-minute waiver to make sure that we get there. And I did tell her, like, right now, even if I try to make it by 6, it's going to be very impossible. She can testify to how I was trying to work things out and trying to make it work, but we couldn't come to an agreement.
And that's when you called me and said that it would be impossible to make it there by 8 o'clock.
All right. So are you the person who picked up the phone and told the officer that the defense attorney said not to travel to San Antonio?
No,
All right. So who is the one who told the officer that?
we never talked to her again after that. We got a call. I want to say it was around a little bit before midnight from another officer. And she asked if she was following up. She was very kind. She was following up saying that she was just wanting to know if we were going to make it, to where I told her we thought we had until 8 o'clock. We talked to our attorney and he said that I informed her that we were going to make it. I put my husband on speaker just so that she could talk to him, and she did. And she's the one that asked him if we were going to make it. And he said we were not going to be able to make it.
All right, so let me
Everything.
backtrack a little bit.
Mhm.
All right. So you're saying that another officer called you. And what did that officer say? Hey, you need to come in?
No, she was just following up. She just said.
All right. So your answer to one of the things you stated, and if I heard wrong, let me know. You said that you were speaking to this other officer and you said, I thought we had until 8.
Yes, I told her, I said, she gave me a timeline. She said that I had to be there until 8 o'clock.
All right. So again, we're back to this question because this statement came somewhere where it says the defendant stated he spoke with his attorney and would not be traveling to San Antonio for device inspection.
Mhm.
So and nobody's going to get into, the attorney's not going to get in trouble here. I'm just trying to get to
Right.
what advice was given. So my question is, did you or your husband inform either Officer Valadez or another pretrial service officer that your attorney said not coming to San Antonio?
Yes.
All right. So why did it take so long for me to get that information? So are you the one who told the officer that the attorney said you're not coming to San Antonio?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. Any other witnesses, defense?
I have no other witnesses, Judge.
All right. State, are you going to call the officer?
Yes, well, the state calls Priscilla Valadez.
All right. Any objection to her appearing by Zoom?
None, Your Honor.
State.
All right. Officer Valadez, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand. Just make sure you keep your voice up so the court reporter can hear. If you'll state your name for the record.
Priscilla Valadez.
State.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Valadez, on last Friday, on May 24th, after 4 o'clock, did you speak with Mr. Smith?
Yes, I did.
And did you also speak to Mrs. Smith, his wife?
Yes, I did. They were both, the phone call was on speaker. I could hear Mr. Smith on the other line, on the other end of the call.
And can you please tell the court and the judge what that conversation pertained to and why you contacted those individuals.
Yes, so I had received a strap tamper alert from Sentinel Monitoring System, which is the GPS device company, about 4:13 about a strap tamper. I had called the defendant's wife, which she's put on speaker, to speak with the defendant if he had cut off or tampered with the device. She says that he was working outside on his car and might have tapped it on something. Confirmed it with the defendant. He said no. I said, regardless, he would need to come into to San Antonio to get the device inspection, which is a part of his GPS contract. When he is getting released from the jail, he signed off on conditions. I can read it to you right here. I understand and agree that I may be required to report to pretrial services or Central Magistrate Booking Office for equipment inspections. Inspections are a discretion of Sentinel or pretrial, may occur anytime of the day or night, and may result in loss of work. So I had given them, I know that they live in Eagle Pass and it is quite a drive away. Unfortunately, since he has an open case in Bear County, there's no other Sentinel monitoring system close to where he resides, so he would have to make the trip. I had informed the defendant's wife and defendant. And the defendant, I could hear him on the other end saying, no, he's not going to come in. He was just here at court the other day. And he said a curse word and said no. He said the F word and said, no, he's not coming. So I had told the defendant's wife, I understand money issues, anything that's happening, but I'm following protocol and my supervisor, and we need him to come in. So I gave her a time period between, since they live like 3.5 hours away, I gave him until 8 o'clock, which is 4 hours. That's more than enough time. I had informed her that if he does not show up, a warrant will be issued due to his violent charge. And there's nothing, I mean, he would have to come in.
And with Mr. Smith's device, is there any other special conditions or anything associated with him personally, like medical? Have there been any medical records or paperwork turned over to you?
Since I've been transferred over from Officer Hudson, since he's been on my caseload, he has not once mentioned doctor's appointments or any medical issues. I know that he had explained that he served in he's a veteran and he has issues going on. But he's never once mentioned to me that he's having a rash or anything in regards to irritating his skin for his device or anything like that. Because if he did bring that up to my attention, I would have informed him to come in so we can get the technician to switch it over to the other leg or do what we can to subside that, what's going on with the skin and the device itself.
And just actually going towards I know Eagle Pass, like you said, I think it's about 3 hours plus away. Is it common when you have a tamper with one of these devices that you ask anybody for that matter that's on GPS to come in so it can be inspected?
Yes, it's protocol. Like I had mentioned, it is a part of his GPS contract. And if he refers back to the GPS contract that he signed when he was being released, it states there that he may need to come into pretrial services or the magistrate booking for equipment inspection.
And I mean, and with these devices, I think you heard earlier he testified that he's getting calls at 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning. Is that something that happens, or is that a common occurrence also?
It does occur sometimes at night, just to make sure that we can confirm where he's located with the device, and just make sure we're doing our job to follow up on regards to his location. And it does, I'm so sorry.
Okay, sorry, you can finish.
It does occur with GPS monitoring system. It does happen.
So in this particular case, it's not anything outside the norm, meaning that it's normal for them to get these calls. It's normal for him to be asked to come in. Is that correct?
No, it's not the norm. It's totally normal in regards to having the device on.
Okay, thank you. We'll pass it with you.
Ms. Valadez, do you have his file in front of you?
I do.
How many GPS devices have he had on since January?
So far, since from my caseload, he has had one device being switched out, and this would be the second time that I would have the technician look at his device and have it switched out again.
Okay, so actually there's been 3. Is that not correct?
I only have 2 on record.
Okay. Do you have Ms. Hudson's file there in front of you? The previous
Yes.
pretrial? Did you see the email she sent to me and concerning the health issues with Mr. Smith?
Let me look back at his file. One moment. That she has sent to you. Nothing in regards to medical, physical. Spoken to him in regards to his conditions. When court was done on the 24th, I had informed him of going from full house to partial. Per pretrial, he's only allowed to go to attorneys, pretrial, bail bonds, medical purposes only for himself, court, and work related.
Okay, so you were familiar then with his medical issues?
In regards to his mental health, yes, but he has never once informed me in regards to going to appointments or anything like that.
Okay, but you didn't bother inquiring about that, did you? Knowing that he was a disabled vet?
Does not fall under my discretion in regards to his mental health. If he needs to be referred to the mental health court, that is your responsibility to refer him and get evaluation.
Ms. Valadez, did you have a conversation with Ms. Smith concerning asking for additional time to come to San Antonio because they had to firm up some family issues and?
So I had Yes, so I had informed her that I gave her more than enough time, gave them more than enough time. I gave them 4 hours, which is 30 minutes more. And I had informed her that unfortunately, he's not able to do the errands that she needs to do prior to getting him to pretrial services for her to do what she needs to do. And then as soon as possible, come to pretrial services as soon as possible. Like he needed to be on his way. But
Okay.
when the on-call, I'm so sorry. When the on-call officer had reached them, he had stated that you told him not to come. So I've had this issue where you're overriding my position and you're telling him things that should not be, that should be disregarding what I'm saying, and I'm just doing my job.
Ms. Valadez, you called him at 4:45 on Friday afternoon, right?
I called him around right when I got the alert. I called him, it was at 4:13, 4:14. I called him as soon as I got it. So it was around maybe 4:16, 4:18 in that time frame.
And you told him he had to be there by 8 o'clock?
I gave him from around to 8 to 9 o'clock. I told him that the technician will only wait so long. If he does not appear, a warrant will be issued due to his aggravated assault case charge.
Okay, and how long does drive, is it from Eagle Pass to San Antonio?
I know it's
All
around
right, so
3.
let me just 1 second. All right, so here's the thing. You've already testified. I don't know why you're doing the 4 fingers to me.
No,
No, you were trying to say it's 4 hours from Eagle Pass. That's why, no, stop. That's why you were doing it. Your attorney has already questioned you. If he wants to recall you back, he's more than welcome to do that. But this is what needs to stop. He's questioning a witness. You're not on the witness stand. Do you understand? All right. So Deputy Mejia, can you just have him stand there so I can concentrate on what's being said here and his attorney can concentrate on questioning the officer? You may continue.
Yes. So do you know how far it is from Eagle Pass to San Antonio?
I know it's around 3.5. It's quite a drive. So I gave him a leeway of 4 hours.
And this was Memorial Day weekend, was it not? Did you consider the traffic flow on Memorial Day weekend on a Friday?
Yes, I did give him I opened up his schedule and I did give him enough time to travel. But that does not help. I did give him the schedule. I did my end. You told him not to go. Therefore, he got a warrant and a remand without bond.
Isn't it procedure that you send the violation report to the presiding judge
So
of the case?
after 4:30, I was no longer in office and it was transferred out to an on-call officer.
So you
So-
bypass it, you bypass the presiding judge in the case and send it to a magistrate. Is that correct?
Due to after hours, since it was close to midnight when the officer had called him to confirm that he's no longer coming, it does go straight to a magistrate judge that is on call 24/7. I mean, not 24/7, but after hours.
All right, and just so everyone knows, I'm not available at midnight.
Well, that's my point, Judge.
Okay.
She's saying midnight, but she told him he had to be there by 8 o'clock. And she knew he wasn't coming by 8 o'clock. So why didn't she file a violation report before midnight?
I'm so sorry. Are you asking why I gave him more time than he should have to appear at the satellite department? Are you upset that I gave him more time?
No, my point is they're coming from Eagle Pass. You know, he's a disabled vet. You know, he has medical issues. You know, they have financial issues. Yet you jumped on a warrant against him. Now, did you know the complaining witness was in jail? Yet you were so concerned about the complaining witness.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I don't know.
Sustained.
Well, Judge, it's in the report that she makes a big issue about the fact they couldn't contact the complaining witness.
All right, the objection is sustained.
All right.
It is I'm so sorry, Judge.
Any other questions?
One more question. Did you refer to me as a redneck?
No,
You didn't?
no, sir.
So if Ms. Smith came in and said you didn't have a conversation with her, you didn't make any derogatory remarks about me, even though I would not take it as a derogatory remark?
I mean,
No,
some people get sunburned, I guess. Okay.
All right, never mind. Pass the witness.
Any other questions?
No.
All right, I just have a few. Any objections to me asking a few
No,
questions?
no.
All right. So Officer Valadez, one of the witnesses testified, and I believe it was the Mr. Smith's wife, that she asked for more time, and then you said you would call her back. Did that happen?
Yes, it did, Judge.
All right. So why did you need to call her back? What were you doing?
I was confirming with my supervisor that unfortunately he did need to come in per the GPS contract.
All right. And how many times have you actually seen Mr. Smith in person?
I've seen him once in person when he came in for his device inspection in the past.
All right. And you stated that twice the device had been switched out?
Once per me, and if he's needing to come into pretrial services today, it would be a second time.
All right. So the one time with you that the device was switched out, what was the reason for that?
It was due to him having charging issues.
All right. And when you say charging issues, was there concern that maybe the device wasn't charging appropriately?
Yes, I'm not a technician, unfortunately, but it was either due to the device not holding the charge, or the charger itself may have the wiring is not as strong as it once was, or anything like that. So we just completely changed the device just in case and gave him a new charger.
All right. Now, with regards to other issues involving Mr. Smith, the mental health issues, were you made aware of that by Mr. Smith or through some other means?
I was aware of it through another officer as well.
All right. And with regards to any physical issues with Mr. Smith, did Mr. Smith ever tell you about any physical issues he had?
No,
Did
Judge.
his wife, Mrs. Smith, ever tell you about any physical issues he had?
No, Judge.
All right. Any other questions from either side?
No, sir, I'm not mistaken.
Ms. Valadez, when did you meet with Mr. Smith?
I had seen him when he came in for his device inspection.
But you didn't have any interviews with him. You just saw him getting a new device in, right?
Yes, I had saw him in the office.
All right. So you didn't sit down and have a conversation with him or interview with him or anything to that extent. Is that correct?
What would you like for me to sit down and interview him about? He was coming in for a change of device and a new charger.
Well, how about this meeting your person that you're monitoring to find out a little bit about him?
I did introduce myself to him when he was transferred over to my caseload. I did my job and it was over the phone.
No further questions.
All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much. If you'll stay on. All right. So what is being requested here? And so that everybody knows, I'm not removing the GPS device. So what we're here for is he's been remanded without bond because he didn't appear. And from the court's perspective, it appears that the defense attorney told him not to appear. And I feel, when somebody receives legal advice, it's hard to hold that against them when they're following through on something their attorney told them to do. So I'm just putting that out there on the table. Anybody who wants to pick it up and discuss that.
Judge, I take responsibility for that because the court will know that I came in first thing Monday morning to address this issue with the court, or Tuesday.
All right, so here's the thing. So I want to make this clear, and I want to make it clear with you, Mr. Smith. If the pretrial services officer tells you to come in to report, you got to come in to report, period. Because you're on bond for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Whether you feel you committed the offense or not, that's not what we're here about. It's a violent offense. A judge puts you on GPS for that offense. You're on GPS. You're going to be on GPS. Do you no? I want you to internalize what I'm saying. Do you understand?
I understand now. I understand.
All right. So you're going to be on GPS. All right. The other thing is everybody is trying to do their job. Sometimes you will have a pretrial services officer who's, I don't want to say touchy-feely, but that's what I'm going to say, touchy-feely. How you doing? Is everything okay with you? Is there anything you need? Anything I can do for you to make this, being on GPS easier? All right. But then there's some officers who are like, hey, guess what? You're supposed to be here at this time. That's when you're supposed to be here, period. Some officers are, no, you're not stopping at the Burger King or Whataburger, even though it's on your route, because guess what? You're not approved to do that. Now, it appears to the court, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, from what I gather from all of the testimony is the call center said there was a strap tamper. The call center gave that information to Officer Valadez. Officer Valadez called you to check to see if there's a strap tamper. What I can tell you is, and we can go off the record, I've seen some officers, guess what? When there's a report from the call center that there's a strap tamper, they don't call the defendant to say, is there a strap tamper? You know what they do? They turn that right over to the judge because this is a violent offense and people need to know where you are.
Understood.
All right. And no, stop. Then the other thing, her calling and saying, let me call you back. What I'm picking up from the table is she was calling her supervisor. Hey, they're in Eagle Pass. What can we do? And I'm sure nobody asked this question of her. That's for you all to ask. I'm sure she called her supervisor and said, hey, this guy's in Eagle Pass. This is what's going on. What should I do? And I'm sure her supervisor told her, hey, you had better put that in and tell him he needs to be here, because if something happens, guess what? It's going to be on her. The rain's going to come down on her because you got this report that there was a strap tamper, and the call center will tell you all we can do is report it. I've seen plenty of reports. All we can do is report that there may be a tamper. That's what they do. And as far as your attorney saying, well, why did you bypass the presiding judge of this case, which is me? You know why I get bypassed? Because I'm not working 24/7. Nobody here is working 24/7. So when court shuts down at 5, now sometimes I'm here till 5:30, sometimes 6.
Actually,
But when court shuts down, guess what? These go to magistrates who've been appointed by the district judges, and they're there 24/7. And when I say they're there in 24/7, they have shifts. But, it's 8-hour shifts. And then you have the part-time magistrates who are in between. But those are magistrates that are appointed by the district court judges. So the magistrate who signed this and did a remand without bond, that's a magistrate that was appointed by the district court judges. And guess what they see? They see that there's a strap tamper, and you don't come in for them to make sure that there's not a tamper. And they don't do this, let me do it by video and let me do it by FaceTime. They don't do that, and they're not required to do that. So what I am seeing is, I don't think there is a official oppression by Officer Valadez. What I think is happening is she not giving the touchy feels. She's saying, this is what you have to do, then you have to do it. That's what GPS is about. I don't know why sometimes people think GPS, being on probation, it's supposed to be touchy feels. It's not. When somebody wants you to do something, you got to do it. If this case hasn't been indicted yet, if your attorney wants to file a motion for an examining trial, he's more than welcome to do that. But guess what? While you're in this court, you're going to be on GPS. I can't tell you to ignore your attorney's device, but I am telling you that when pretrial services officer wants you to report, you need to report. She gave you enough time from Eagle Pass. And I realized it was the Memorial Day weekend, but by 8 p.m., everybody is where they were supposed to be. So that's where we are. And you probably shouldn't say anything else, because sometimes people talk themselves out of the jail. I'm sorry, talk themselves into the jail or into prison. So state, we're back on the record. State, defense. State, what are you requesting?
State's just requested that he follows the GPS, the officer Valadez or any assigned officer. And that if there's a tampering, he comes in and he follows the rules that he signed up for, Judge. At this point, we're not asking for him to be incarcerated.
All right.
And I would take that same position, Judge.
All right. So here's the thing. I don't work 24/7. Everybody needs a vacation once in a while. As my mother would say, her mother, my grandmother told her, not made of iron. So I can't be working 24 hours a day. Otherwise, Deputy Laura, Deputy Mejia will say I started to get cranky. I don't see it. Or hangry. I don't see it. So what we're going to do is, then I'll recall the warrant. And I'm telling you, and I want you to hear me clearly. When Officer Valadez tells you you need to come in, you need to come in. You understand? And we're off the record. And here's the thing. People don't have to be touchy-feely. They don't.
I wasn't necessarily asking for that.
Well, here's the thing. People don't have to be nice when they're talking to you. I would appreciate it if everybody could be nice. But guess what? If somebody doesn't want to say, hey, how's your day going? If Officer Valadez just want to say, hey, you need to be here at 8 p.m. We got a strap tamper. There doesn't have to be, how's your day going? Do you need this? Do you need that? That's really not her job. And I ask questions. And the reason why I ask questions is because I'm trying to figure out what can be done for people to be successful in their life, be successful on probation. So her job is sort of slightly different from mine. So there you go. Officer Valadez, do you need him to report today?
Yes, Judge, I still need that device inspection done.
All right, so you need to get the device inspection done today. You're already in San Antonio. What time do you want him there?
Whenever he's done in court, he can go straight to pretrial service and I can inform the technician.
All right, so he's going to be leaving from the courtroom and he's going straight to wherever he needs to go. Do you know where you need to go?
Down by the jail, I believe. It's the same place I used to go when I met.
All right, is that where he needs to go, Officer Valadez?
Yes, Judge, 222 South Kamal, it's 2 blocks down from the jail.
All right, is there anything else?
Nothing further. Nothing from the defense.
I was just, this happened. I believe it's because of where I live, but.
No, here's
I
the
live
thing.
In the middle of nowhere.
I understand what you're saying.
This
But-
happens
but
3
you-
times a week.
Here's the thing. I understand what you're saying, but you need to understand what I'm saying. One, I have no control over the communication issues to Eagle Pass and the calling center. 2, that device is not getting removed.
No.
So, I mean,
Nothing was done intentionally, like, try to take it all. Just 3 or
All
4
right.
times a week they're
Thank
calling.
you so much for coming in, Officer Valadez. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse?
Yes.
I don't know if you want to put that in.